And we are live. It's your favorite insurance agents, Darnold Jr. and
Michelle DeSelle, the Wealth Tattletale.
And you are listening to FinLit Live. What up, FinLit Live family? If you are watching live, go ahead and put hashtag live. If you're watching a replay, put hashtag replay. Like and share this with your friends and family because we have a really fun topic to you today. So we don't have any guests, so we are our own guests today.
Yes,
We're going to have a lot of fun with this topic because it is important. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. So we're going to talk about why the poor are getting poorer.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and dive in, get lit.
Hey, we're back. We're back.
And so,
yes, I'm excited about this topic. We have some amazing guests on all the time, and they're telling us about their perspectives of wealth, how they acquire their wealth, what they do in their, prospective professions. But the key thing is that we can do all of this investing. We can start here, but if we don't have a foundation, it's just going to flop and crash. So we need to talk about why the poor keeps getting poor.
Absolutely. I always heard the phrase that if you took $100,000 and divvied it up among everybody, then everybody's going to end up in the exact same position before they got the $100,000.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of what you're about to share has a lot to do with that.
Absolutely. It's about structure and foundation. You would not build a house on sand. You would not build a house without a solid foundation. And that's the key thing. That's what's going to hold the structure up. And this is what we want to touch on this tonight. So we're going to talk about 7 reasons. And I'm certain there could be millions more, but we're going to touch on these 7 reasons because I think that it resonates with everyone. You can understand why this happens. We see this all the time. And so we're going to dive into the topic in just a second, because you said, as well as I agreed with you when you said it, so many things that we did not grasp when we were younger. No one told us, and they told us because they didn't tell us because they didn't know. So we're not faulting anybody.
Right.
But when you know better,
you do better.
So here it is. We want to share this with you so that you can begin applying these things, understanding, knowing them, and know how to, correct some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So
you got my interest.
Okay. So we talk about it all the time. You hear it all the time, and people hate this word because it takes commitment. It takes dedication, and it's hard. 7 reasons why the poor get poor. And number 1 is they don't budget.
Ooh, budget.
That nasty little word, that B word.
The B word.
Don't call me the B word. The B word, budget.
Yep.
And let's make something plain. These things happen because bad habits and bad decisions, they add up.
They do.
Just like dollars and cents do, right?
Absolutely.
But that's one thing we don't want adding up. We don't want our bad habits and our bad decisions to continue to add up because it sinks us in a hole. And so let's talk about some of the bad things that happen when we don't budget, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you don't budget, ugly things can happen. And so I'm gonna mention just a few because we want to get to all 7, right?
Yeah.
So when you don't budget, you lose track of your spending, right? So it's so easy to say, okay, I'm going to line this up every month. This is what's going on. This is what I'm going to spend and everything. And then you get in the grocery line and you have your list, right? And you only came in to get these 10 items for the week. Yep. But now you're standing between a Snickers, a lollipop, and some lip gloss and everything. And it won't hurt. It's only $2. This candy bar is $3 for $1. And so here we've stepped outside of our budget. We've lost track of our spending, right? Or that purse that may be on sale, or that nice accessory that you want to put on your car, your truck.
Yep.
What gets us in trouble is it's only. Right?
Yeah.
And another thing
justify.
we try to justify our behavior.
Wow.
And another thing that happens when we do not have a budget is that you fall short on your savings goals, right? So if you spent that extra $50 on a purse that was on sale, you still didn't do yourself any good favor because now your budget for savings is lacking. So when you lose focus on your savings budgets, those important goals that you set aside, they don't get met, or it takes you a longer time to meet them, right?
Absolutely.
And so another nasty thing that happens when we don't budget is that you increase your risk of landing in debt. So the thing that we're trying so hard to crawl out of, not having a budget, it just increases the liability of the debt that you're going to get yourself into.
Absolutely.
So these are all nasty things, y'all. Keep track of this
Absolutely.
nasty stuff. So one more that will happen. You will damage your credit. And we've had several people on here talking about credit,
Absolutely.
right?
Go check out those shows.
Check out those shows because that's one of the things, one of the pitfalls that happens when you don't have a budget, right? So the credit gets nasty. It's ugly. That number plummets. And when you really want to go and buy that first home,
Too bad, so sad.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're going to hate that purse that you bought. Okay, number two is okay. Number one, you don't have a budget. Number two, you don't have goals. And not having financial goals is going to be a very painful thing.
Absolutely.
And so when you don't have, financial goals, meaning that you don't have goals towards your retirement, you don't have a goal towards saving for college, all of these things are a part of having a strong financial goal, right?
Absolutely.
And so we mentioned, oh, my financial goals and everything, but what are those goals? What are financial goals, right? We say that, but do we really know what those are? So those financial goals, and usually when you're setting financial goals, you are setting goals for the future.
Absolutely.
You are doing today. Now you're making the sacrifice today for your future, because who wants to be an old person and your goals have not been met? You can't retire on time or anything like that, right? So when you have these pitfalls, when you don't have goals, you want to achieve future goals for you and your family. Now that's our biggest asset that we are looking to care for, is our family.
Absolutely.
Right? And so when we do not have financial goals in place, we do not have our family in mind.
Wow.
Think about that.
Wow.
That's a harsh reality.
Yeah.
Would you really like to think that I'm really not considering these children that I've brought into the world?
No.
I'm not considering that aging parent that I have to care for. I'm not considering how they're going to go to college. You are just all over the place. And so you delay your retirement when you don't have a financial goal. You delay your retirement. Do you think for once that the elderly person that you see when you decide to go to Walmart at 11:30 at night, that they do not want to be at home? Yes, they want to be at home. But you know what happened? They outlived their money.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've seen some very elderly people as a greeter. And it broke my heart because it was during Christmas months. It's cold. When that door opened, it's cold inside of Walmart, right?
Absolutely.
I hated to see that. It really broke my heart. But you never know what has happened and transpired in people's lives. And sometimes the lack of knowledge with the money, what to do with the money.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they may have had a job and had a nice 401k plan, and then they cashed out. They started living on it. And what happens? You wind right back up in poverty because you did not know what to do with that money.
Wow.
You did not know how to invest it so that you would be comfortable later on in life. So that's another ugly thing that happens when you don't have a financial plan.
Absolutely.
And again, you will assume more or less of the investment risk that you intended to have when you fail to have a budget.
Wow.
Right? And so this it's an increasing problem that happens so often, and it's just merely for the lack of what we're trying to do, a lack of education. And you hear so many people say so many times, oh my God, if I would have known that, if
Yep.
someone had taught me that.
Absolutely.
So tell me, Donald, have you experienced those moments of, I wish I would have known?
Oh, all the time.
all, all the time. And,
Mhm.
and, and so being a young, strapping young man like you are, you learn these lessons and you've learned them in a timely manner.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Because this man is always on the grind, right? And the thing is that you have to, more than having this knowledge available, there's a key principle to it all. You have to want to know this knowledge.
Absolutely.
You have to want to. And
Mhm.
and that's the thing. It's kind of hard trying to give this insight to people that are not in tune and not interested.
I always
And
say a mind is like a parachute. It's best when it's open.
yes,
And so if you're
absolutely.
not open-minded to
Mhm.
learning and growing,
Yeah.
then you can't do better.
Yes, and it's a great analogy. I like that.
Mhm.
And so another thing that happens when you don't have a financial plan is you lose financial focus. Everybody has said, I want this, and that, and I want to achieve this, and that, and I want to do it by the age of so and so. But all of the extra interference that comes along with buying and spending. Oh my goodness, your friend just got a new car.
Mhm.
They just got a new house.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses when it's just not your time yet. It's not that you cannot have a car, that you cannot have the house, but you got to have it when it's time for you, because everybody's homework assignment is different. Everybody's saving goals are different. Everybody's start is different and their finish is different, right? So when you decide that you want to go and get a car because someone else had it, their credit score may be a high 700,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because you don't know how hard it is to keep those numbers pretty,
Mhm.
right? And so you decide that this is what you want to do.
Mm.
This is, it's okay not to have what someone else has,
That's true.
because that comes with having the confidence in who you are and where you are,
Mm.
and know that your journey, your financial journey, is going to be different from the next person's. And I know one of the main influences that we have to help us lose focus is social media.
Yep.
hmm Everybody on there trying to get the likes. Everybody's on there wanting those floating hearts. And
Mhm.
everybody's out there showing you how they're living their lives. I need you to understand that the majority of those lies, I just told the truth. A majority of them, they are lies.
Mhm.
People are not as put together as you think. So don't get caught up in all of the fluff. Stay in your lane and stay on your financial journey, because it's not comfortable with a roof over your head that you don't know how you're going to pay for it,
Mm.
right?
Absolutely.
You can get in that roof, and what realtor wouldn't be happy to, earn a commission to get you in that house?
Absolutely.
But if you cannot afford that home, those nights that you go to bed, they're not going to be sweet. That's not going to be sweet sleep. Right? So
Mm.
y'all stay in your lane, stay on your own journey, and keep your financial focus. And number 3, Donald, one of the reasons that people, the poorest they poor, is that they have expensive taste.
Mm.
Everybody knows somebody like that, right?
Absolutely.
You got Popeye budget but caviar taste.
The $30,000 millionaire.
Exactly. You got Pinto budget, but you have Porsche taste.
Mhm.
Yes. So these are things that are so important when you have the expensive taste and you don't have money.
Mhm.
And it's easy to want things. It's easy to see a person that has really done the work and that they can afford it and be envious of that life, of what they have. But having expensive taste on a shoestring budget leads to nothing but trouble.
Mhm.
Nothing but trouble. So when you have that, and I've seen this, oh, you have the latest iPhone, but you at the bus stop.
What?
Yes, honey, let me tell you something.
Priorities.
Your priorities are so screwed up at that point. And
Mhm.
I've seen this. I mean, the latest iPhone. I mean, and I'm a woman that's gainfully employed,
Mhm.
and I was on an Android. Even my students was telling me that, Dr. DeSelle, you need to get another phone.
You're like, not
And
gonna do it.
right, and only until I was on vacation in Rome and I lost my cell phone in a taxi and could not get it, and then my daughters forced me to get an iPhone. So, but that's the thing, is that you see things like that, the expensive taste and everything. And so let me tell you what happens when you have that expensive taste. You have broken priorities, right? And values. Total mess up. That is a catastrophe waiting to happen, right? And you sacrifice important needs for your selfish wants.
Wow.
Yeah.
I call it happiness today at the expense of tomorrow.
At the expense of tomorrow.
Happiness today at the expense of tomorrow.
And it's not worth it. And I need you to really think of that. I'm going to say it again. I want it to resonate in your spirit, darling, what it is that you're doing. You are sacrificing important needs for your selfish wants. We got to do better.
Absolutely.
We just have to stop these things.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're here for. We're here to be your support system, okay? And another thing, what happens is that your worth, most times, is on your back. Y'all stop worrying about labels. Y'all stop worrying about impressing people, about the label that's in the back of your shirt, your dress,
your
and all of that kind of thing. Honey, listen.
Yeah.
If you got it like that, you can make a Walmart dress. Who do some things that a Vera Wang can't think of.
Yep. And I have a feeling people make fun of me of what I dress, because normally if I'm not on the show, I'm wearing the same thing day in and day out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this brand that I represent is the only brand that's going to be making me money. So why am I going to wear Gucci or whatever?
Right.
I'm going to wear this because this is the only one that's
and it makes so much sense. And I've been accused many times of being a fashionista. I have, but people have no idea that I do love fashion. I really, really do. But I'm a country girl from Lufkin, Texas. All right. And I have spent years of my life living in the projects. So I'm accustomed to secondhand. So when you see me flossing and bossing, I probably got a bad dress out of Walmart. I probably went to the vintage store. Even my jewelry. I recycled this necklace.
That's awesome.
And these earrings and this necklace was just one necklace. I decided to cut it up and chop it up and fix it and make my own jewelry. Yeah. So you can have that good look without breaking anybody's bank. Right?
Speaking of flossing and bossing, I like that hairstyle of yours too.
Why, thank you very much.
It's awesome.
Yes. Oh, and I'm enjoying it so much. Thank you very much, Darnold.
Absolutely.
And another thing I want to, I want to say, most times when you are living above your means and all of that kind of thing, when you have that expensive taste, a lot of these people suffer from dealing with credit card interest, bank overdrafts, and all of that. Yep. because this becomes like an illness or a sickness or something like that, really, at the expense of overdrafting your account. You want to have that purse, you want to have that new this and that and the other, whatever. I just want people to just get a sense of discipline. And sometimes you might have to go to therapy, because it could be bad. It's serious.
It's addiction.
It is an addiction, and it has gotten a lot of people in trouble. So we're going to work on that too. So number 4 is that number 4 is, you have increasing debt, which means that you are, living with credit card debt. You are living with, all types of, credit liabilities, and a large portion of your, in income is wrapped up in interest. And so
Mm.
when you don't see, yes, oh, you're excited about getting that credit card, that's fantastic. That's great. You're happy about that, but you're not considering the interest rates
Mm.
that they have. And
And
most of your income is going towards paying high interest rates.
now's not the time
It
to
is,
have credit card debt because the
no,
feds are constantly raising the interest rates, and
yeah,
they're going to be raising their interest rates throughout the rest of this year.
yes.
And guess what? That's going to affect your credit card interest. That's
Mm-hmm.
going to affect car loans. That's going to affect. It's
Oh,
already affecting mortgages.
yes.
Like mortgages jumped almost 3% over the past 6
Mm-hmm.
months already.
Mm-hmm.
And so now's not the time to have
Now is not the time.
anything interest related.
This is the time when you just need to be holding, right? You need to
Mhm.
stay still and don't make certain purchases, no sudden moves with that kind of thing, because right now it is just very volatile because of the recession that we're in, the climate that we're in. It doesn't pay for you to make certain moves, and when most of your income is going towards interest, that's a really, really, really bad thing. It's a really bad thing. Number 5 is people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm.
So which means is that they work for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And what we need to understand is how to get to a point where your money is working for you.
Mm.
You see, if
Say
you,
that again.
we need to get you to a point where your money is working for you. Now, if you have to get up, whether it's rain, sleet, or snow, and you have to go to your job, if you don't go to your job, you don't make money, you're living paycheck to paycheck,
Mm.
right? So let's just say, now, don't, on a very cold, rainy day, I mean, it's cold and raining,
Mm.
the worst kind for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like cold weather. If I have to get up and weather that inclement weather to get to my job,
Mm.
I'm working for money. Money isn't
Wow.
working for me.
Wow.
So when you get to a point where it's raining and everything, and you say, hey, it's too cold for me to get out
Going
here.
back to bed.
I'm going back to bed. You have figured out a system where your money works for you and you are not working for money. That's the thing. When you work for a living, 9 times out of 10, no, 10 times out of 10, you're living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm.
We're going to have to do better.
Absolutely.
We're going to have to do better. And so when you work for a paycheck, when you're living that way, you need to learn how to protect the money that you work for. You need to protect your money. You need to understand that me working for a living is not going to get me into the financial situation that I need to be in the future.
I always say you can't save your way to $1 million.
You cannot save your way to $1 million.
We just don't have
Right?
enough time.
No, there is not enough time. And so number 7 is something that is our forte. And number 7 is the reason why the poor gets poor is because they have no interest in their financial future,
Mm.
right? And so what that means is that most people, they don't, I can tell you easily, I can get you to come, hey, look, I know where there is a sale is, girl. You can get, a purse, you can get some shoes, you can get this, all of this is on sale. I can convince you to travel and come and go with me to a sale, right? Come on, let's drive to,
Let's
to
go.
Lamar, to the outlets.
Mhm.
We can go. But if I say, hey, would you like to go to a seminar with me? They're teaching about financial literacy, how to save for retirement. Nobody's interested.
Mm.
Nobody wants to go and talk about that.
Mm.
No. So they're like, oh, well, I would, but then you're going to want to call me and borrow some money from me when you can't pay your light bill. Because why? You know what? I got it.
Mhm.
You know what the answer's gonna be? No, you should have went to that financial literacy conference that me and Darnell had.
That.
Yes, and so that's the thing that we are trying our best to do, is to make our community interested in their financial future.
Absolutely.
Planning is everything. If you fail to plan,
And
what do they say?
plan to
You
fail.
plan. If you, yes, and so
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
absolutely, and so these are the things that, when we're talking about having control of your own future.
Mhm.
And most people think that that control is in their jobs. That control is, with their government,
Mm.
with their unions.
Mm.
Not so. Most people think that the control is with their bank, with
Mm.
their credit union, with their broker. It is not. That financial future is in your hands. You have control of that. And what control do you have? You have control to make money. You have control to save money. You have the control to acquire money, and you have the control to protect your money. And
Absolutely.
protecting your money is going to prepare you for your future. That's all we're trying to do out here in these financial streets, y'all. Well,
That was
we've given
awesome.
you the seven tips. Not the tips, the 7 reasons why. And I'm going to say them one more time so that you can have them. Number one is the reason they don't have a budget. They do not have goals. They have expensive tastes. They are living paycheck to paycheck, right? And they work for a living again, and they do not prepare. And another thing we didn't say, they do not prepare. They do not have an emergency fund.
Mm.
That is so important to have that emergency fund.
Absolutely.
You don't need to go into your household budget money when you have a crisis.
Mm.
That mad money, that rainy day money, that
Mm.
emergency fund money, it is essential that
Absolutely.
you have that, right? And
Absolutely.
so we want to make certain that, these are something that they're easy to follow,
Absolutely.
and they don't make it so it's not so complicated, right? So budget, goals, not having expensive taste, not living with credit card debt, and preparing for emergency situations, and not living from paycheck to paycheck, and being interested in your financial future.
Cool. Thank you for sharing all those. They were
Well,
awesome. And once again, where the rubber meets the road is application, right?
application, absolutely.
It's one thing
Mhm.
to have the knowledge, but if you don't apply the knowledge, then you might as well
Yeah,
not have the knowledge
yeah,
at all.
yeah, and that's the only thing that you can do is apply. That's the only way you're going to see changes in your life. And we have to make them understand that we know it's hard. It's not easy.
Absolutely.
It's not easy.
The best things are not easy.
Yeah. The sacrifice is not going to always be easy. I know it's hard when you're going to change from shopping at Macy's to probably going to get a vintage dress at the resale shop. But it won't kill you, girl. You'll get over it.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the
Yes.
things I'm very adamant about, and I teach a lot, is pleasure pain principle.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a lot of times people focus on the short term pleasure,
Yeah.
but end up reaping long term pain. But the people that focus on the short term pain end up reaping long term pleasure.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the principles you just talked about
Mhm.
encompass that whole principle.
And so I'm going to say this, and then I want you to share from a male's perspective. I know one of the things that women always have that issue with, of course, is that we want the latest fashion. We want to, to have the purse. We want to have the bundles. We want to have the nice shoes and things like that. And we want to buy labels for our children. I want them to have what I didn't have, when really all of that stuff is not necessary. So there's always a beautiful substitution for anything. And I want you to know this. I don't care whatever it is, everything will go on sale. I don't care what it is. Wait. Sometimes waiting is the part that hurts.
I'm a sucker for deals.
Yes, yeah. So from the male's perspective, what are those things that men usually have hangups on?
Absolutely. It's just Like one of the big things right now is shoes. Like some people are sneakerheads and they just have to have the latest and greatest. Like literally, they'll wait in line at Foot Locker before the door even opens to go get the latest and greatest shoes.
Wow.
And I've heard horror stories
Yes.
about people fighting over shoes, and it's just like, why? And ultimately, if you boil it down, there's only 4 things that we absolutely need, and that's food, air, water, and shelter.
Yes.
And outside of those 4 things, everything else is just a want.
A want.
And those wants are dictated by our pleasure pain principle, actually. And so yeah. So from a male perspective, I think it's like technology. I'm a big sucker for technology myself.
Yeah, 'cause
So
we have some great microphones over here, right?
Yup. So we gotta sound good, we gotta look
Yeah.
good, right? But it's all an investment
Yeah.
because this is not something that I'm frivolously spending. It's
Right.
something that will ultimately have a return.
Because
in the
we're
future.
using these wonderful things trying to educate our community.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And so I think that's the mentality people have to have
Yeah.
when they're purchasing some. Is it going to be short term where you just lose the money and
Yeah.
whatever, or is it something you're really investing into yourself, into your future, into your financial house? And so that's just zooming out and seeing the big picture.
Yes. Well, we hope that we have created a big picture experience for you today.
Absolutely.
And, learning these reasons, apply these reasons, and because some of the things, some of these steps that, we're still, learning a lot of things. That's why we have these amazing guests on, because we too are still ever evolving. So, and we want to share these insights and principles with you. So thank you so very much for indulging us tonight.
Absolutely. If you got any value out of today's talk, go ahead and smash that like button and share it with your friends. Subscribe to Finlit Live if you haven't done so already. And we actually have an announcement like coming up on September 17th at 10 a.m. There's going to be a men's conference. So we're speaking to the men out there. So this men's conference is designed to elevate every aspect of your life, from financial to emotional to relational to even judicial. We're going to have attorneys there that are going to help people expunge their records. Oh my gosh, that's going to be huge. And so we're inviting all the men. If you know a man, have them come out. It's going to be September 17th at 10 a.m. and it's going to be at Greens International Church. And the address is 200 West Greens Road, Houston, Texas. We're going to have our booth there.
Yes,
we're going to
we'll
be
be
talking
there.
about financial literacy and elevated men financially. So we're excited to be part of that event.
Absolutely.
And so come check it out. It's going to be really fun. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. And if you love what we're doing, go ahead and smash that subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month, by the end of the year. Ooh, end of the month would be even better, but end of the year is very practical. And so how can people get a hold of you?
You can reach me on Instagram, Michelle DeSelle, The Wealth Tattletale, as well as Michelle DeSelle on Facebook. And if you want to book a consultation and anything, you can see at centricwealthadvisor.com.
Absolutely. And you can find me at Darnold Jr. almost any social media, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, every social media. Darnold Jr. My name is so unique. I captured that.
We both have unique names.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Michelle DeSelle, The Wealth Tattletale.
Darnold Jr.
That's right. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. And we look forward to next week. We have our guest lined up. She's already booked and everything. So it's going to be good. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.